morning and welcome back. This is hour number 2 of Tampa Home Talk. We're so glad you're here. And we have some guests this hour. They did not flake out like the ones in the 8 o'clock hour. All the cool people are in the house this hour.
Wait, Adam and Leo were your guests in the 8 o'clock hour. You were.
Well, really, on the fly, like top 10 home trends for 2021.
We went through the top 10 list a little too fast.
That's all right. It was still fun. We could jibber-jabber about it for a long time, but we still got through it. So this hour, we're going to introduce our new guest, which is Mrs. Susan Jackson with Susan Jackson Design. She is an interior home designer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Thank you. And then also we're welcoming back our favorite paint guy in all of Tampa, Mr. Mark Moon with Dyco Paints. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And just in case you don't remember, Dyco Paint is made for the Florida sun, manufactured right here. We're just waiting for the Tampa Home Talk building to be painted with Dyco Paint here very soon. So we'll have to post those pictures once they're up and running. You guys can see it will look much, much better. I'm surprised Leo hasn't said anything about the building not being painted yet. Thought for sure it was coming, but...
I mean, this wall is a beautiful, what is it, hunter's green, lime green, apple green?
Talking about the exterior, but that's on our list.
How would you define this green?
Studio green.
Studio green?
It's green.
Pretty green.
And really like green screen,
and
studio
I hear
green.
Green is coming back in the Zoom room, so you can interjuxtapose your own backgrounds.
The point of that, yep.
Yeah.
All right, so Susan, let's talk about, tell me a little bit about your company, yourself, how you got started.
It's a long story. I grew up in a military family, and we moved every single year of my life when I was a little kid. And every time we'd move, my mom would sew curtains and upholster furniture and do things like that to, temporary housing all the time. And it was meaningful to me that my mom tried so hard to make our spaces comfortable and,
And home, right?
Yeah.
Even though it might be for a year or two, maybe
right,
4.
Right. So I was interested in it, from the very beginning. And then I started, when I got out of college, flipping houses, remodeling, doing that kind of stuff, and loved it. And then finally in 2007, I just quit doing all my other jobs and decided to go into interior design. Yeah.
So, and how long have you been here in the Tampa Bay area?
2007.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about full home remodel for interior, right? Because we were talking all about these home trends for last year and how people are making their new space, their homecation space, and really kind of jazzing up their area. Kitchens were at the top of the list. What's the order, would you say, of operations for a full remodel? Like, where would somebody start, especially if they're living in the home still?
Yeah, actually, remodeling is one of my. I really love it. Reforming the interior of a home, walls moving, that kind of stuff, opening up spaces now is a big thing, right?
Yep.
Rooms used to be very defined, and now they're open. It's wonderful. And it's.
I understand that one, don't I, Leo?
Mm-hmm.
To the point to where we remove load-bearing walls and put new beams.
Gotta put the beam back in, and you're calm.
Yeah, and that's where it's important to have, obviously you need a contractor to come in and make sure before you go doing things like that. Which,
well, sort of.
Yeah.
Or you could just be a real estate with your engineer friend. But yeah, no. You don't want to rip them out for sure. Unless you know what you're doing.
Right.
And, yeah.
Right, exactly. But it's exciting. That's a wonderful trend. I'm not a big trend person, but I think this open space.
I think the trend's going to stay.
I think so. It makes sense.
So what part of a full remodel requires a permit? Do you get that question, or you talked about that often?
Actually, in reality, everything you do in your home requires a permit.
Yep.
Well, not paint and stuff, but most stuff.
Well, yeah, not paint.
You said full remodel.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, even, just changing out your bathroom vanity and a new sink, and that plumbing is supposed to have a permit.
I don't see most people getting a permit for that, but
yes,
you're supposed to.
A lot of people don't.
If you move any kind of plumbing, you really
should.
Yeah.
Or you move any electrical.
Yep. If you don't, and the city finds out, then you're in some trouble.
Well, I think most people probably don't want them in their home. Combine that with just the craziness of COVID. Makes sense?
Yeah. But the thing with it, pulling a permit is the benefit
Safety
of a
first,
permit.
right.
Well, is then you have an inspector that comes and inspects the work. So when there's a permit, an inspector comes and the plumbing is done properly into code. And if without a permit, you're just sort of relying on trusting that the fellow or woman you hired is doing the right thing.
I had this whole conversation yesterday with a guy that made some comments about how the county and municipality inspectors are the ones that couldn't quite make it on their own, like in the real grown-up world, maybe. Any comments on that, Leo?
I'm going to play nice here.
Leo does a lot of those inspections.
Yeah, we have a whole division dedicated to the fact that its motto is this division exists because the city and county inspectors can't do their job properly.
And they're overwhelmed too right now.
They're very overwhelmed.
They're really encouraging the private provider inspectors.
I do like how Pinellas
right
has actually subcontracted out a lot of their third-party inspection, a lot of their inspections to third parties because they can't have it. They got a list of 100 houses they had to visit in one day.
And they can't hire that many people, so it makes sense to sub it out.
Yeah.
All right. So what kind of things are you involved in? Are you involved with the architectural side of it as well a little bit, or mostly the interior design part?
Do you mean exterior architectural?
No, we were talking about ripping out walls and moving stuff and all of that a moment ago. So
Absolutely. Yeah. My husband is an engineer. We have an engineering firm, and so as far as doing drawings and designs, form permit and stuff, we can produce those. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So what would you suggest that a homeowner prepare for prior to the complete remodel project? Like, where should they start? What are some of the ones you saw a lot of last year? Like when people were doing home remodels, what was the common ones you were seeing?
Probably, and I haven't been doing a lot of whole home remodels. Most of my work is, like a family room redo or something like that. But the most recent home remodels is tearing out walls, opening up space.
Yeah.
A lot of times just not even a whole wall in a kitchen, but opening, lots of kitchens are more closed in, so opening up kitchen spaces to the family room and stuff like that.
So when you say redoing a living room, like what kind of things are going into that you're doing this year?
That's the big thing is like a feature wall, a TV wall. A lot of homes, were built. These flat screen TVs, are sort of a new thing in the last 10 years, say, or whatever, and everybody's purchased a flat screen TV, but the structure, a lot of these homes had built-in spaces for the larger TVs and that kind of thing. So that's a lot of what's going on, feature walls and how to make your TV wall specifically.
Yeah, we had one of those in our house, like this little niche that's cut out, but our TV's so big it just covers it. So it doesn't really matter, I guess, at that point. So when you say feature wall, what else is going into that other than like mounting the TVs to the wall? What other kind of things are you doing to jazz up that space?
That's the fun thing, is figuring out what works in that space and what's interesting and different. And I mean, I had one client last year or the year before who had a very large, beautiful wall with a long rectangular high window. So say maybe the window was 5 feet up and 2 or 3 feet tall and 12 feet long, but it's way on the right side of the room.
Oh, that's a little off.
Yeah, and the whole left side was open. So I designed a cabinet, a floating cabinet, very large, again, probably 12 feet, that offset the window. So now we have balance on the wall, and put the TV in, and so it's a floating cabinet. Put wood on the wall, made the cabinet look like it was sort of galvanized metal. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful installation, and they loved it.
That galvanized metal seems to be like a trend. Like I wanted to do that in my outdoor pool area because we've ripped out all the cabinets, Leo, and I had that in my head, and I kept telling my husband I knew what I want, but I haven't seen it anywhere. And it was that, like the galvanized metal with the wood trim.
Yeah, it was actually a painted surface, like even I think it was Rust-Oleum paint. But it had a metallic finish, right? So it was beautiful. Yeah.
So I would love to talk about like some cost-friendly ways to really update the space on a budget, or the design on the dime. Talk about all that stuff.
Sure.
There's whole TV shows made after it.
Yeah.
So, all right, when we come back, we'll talk about that. And then we're going to also have Mark Moon jump into the conversation as well. And we're going to talk about some of these paint colors and some of these trends. And we'll talk about the magazine that really kind of started this whole hour off. Sound good?
Okay.
All right, this is Tampa Home Talk, and if you want to get some ideas for your space, or you need some paint made for the Florida sun in your home, you can call or text us at 813-377-2775, 813-377-2775.
813-377-2775.
We'll be back. Stick around just a moment.
Welcome home. This is Leo Kane with Beryl Engineering and Inspection. We are back in Tampa Home Talk, talking about how to remodel your Zoom room into a feature wall.
Well, Mark was just talking about what he did in his own house.
Yeah, no. Let's get a little more in depth on that on the air.
So I love how you say your wife watches these shows and gives you like an instruction sheet on what's next.
Yes, she does. She just tells me what to do, and I do it. So
What was the latest project?
at my house, we have a fireplace. It's an older home. I think it was built in 1964, 65, something like that. So we had a brick fireplace. It was just your normal brick fireplace. So we ended up painting that white. On each side, we did built-ins that were shiplapped with dark stained shelves, and then I built a new mantle that is a dark stain for wire management. So there's no wires.
How did you build it in there? Because we did a similar project, so I'm just curious now.
How did I build?
Like, where did the wires go? Like, how did you build? How did you do the wire management?
Well, I put a wire channel on the brick, put the wires in the wire channel, and then the mantle just slides in, and then I've got pins that hold it in. So it can't move, so my kids can't get up there and
Hopefully
pull it
you
down.
don't have to get back there to any of those wires, right?
That's easy to pull out.
Is it?
Yeah, it
Okay.
is.
You just pull the mantle right off, and your wires are exposed.
You have to send me some pictures so I can like get the visual.
Yeah, I will. I've got some pictures on my phone. I'll send them to you.
So we were talking about paint colors before the show, and I thought it was so interesting because Mimi handed me this Better Homes and Gardens magazine.
Oh, I thought that was a food magazine.
No, she was showing
There's
this.
food on every page.
Like these apple green, and the back is all food, but these apple green colors, and look at this. This is the wall Dragon Well paint.
Yeah.
Like it's not a
That's-
green screen
that's
paint,
a-
like a 1960s paint.
I haven't seen anybody order.
green.
You haven't
those
seen a lot of that?
No. Mm-mm.
I think these magazines try to start trends.
I think
don't you?
That is the point of these magazines.
Okay.
That
It
tile's
is.
popular.
Yeah.
So this tile,
That's
now
classic.
that is definitely like from the 50s, 60s era,
That's
reinvented.
classic. That stuff's been around since, I remodel, or I used to do historic and old homes up in Iowa. And that tile like that little hex
Yeah.
is on the floors. I mean, it's, from the 1800s.
It's on my bathroom floors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we saw that, like, the stuff built in probably 90s, 2000s-ish didn't have it, but we've really seen it come back a lot.
Yeah, it's
I
classic.
think.
Classic.
So what do you guys think about paint colors to use that are trendy but won't, like, super date your home?
There aren't any.
And then while we're at it, like, a curious question really for both of you in terms of paint, like, how often does somebody get bored with their colors and repaint it? Like, what's realistic? I know some people probably do it more than others, but what's the ideal or average time frame you guys see?
I think Mark should answer that.
On the exterior, most people paint about every 7 to 10 years.
Well, exterior is like
you're
necessity.
supposed to do that, yeah.
Yeah, that's like required for maintenance. But like interior,
Interior, sometimes people don't change their colors for 20 years.
I wish my wife was like that.
but I don't. So how often are you changing your colors, Leo? How often is your wife?
If I had my way,
No. What is she doing?
if she had her way, it'd be like once a year. I'd be like, oh, got to change these paintings, and let's repaint the wall.
So how often is it really getting painted on the inside?
I think most people tend to
4
do
years.
accent walls.
Yeah.
It's what?
3 to 4 years.
Every
Accent
3 to 4
walls.
years you're painting. Okay.
I think they tend to leave their walls alone and then add accent colors.
So let me ask you personally, what color are your walls and how long have they been that color?
My colors it would appear white if
Okay.
you walked in,
So
but it's a
the
very light
eggshell.
gray.
Okay.
And my trim is bright white, and then I have dark wood accents.
And how long has it been that color?
2 years.
Okay.
I'm a paint guy. So
And what
I've got
about before that? How long did you have that whatever color?
about 3 years?
Okay, so the
But I
paint
moved in the
guys-
house 5 years ago, so It was already painted when I got in there.
Got it.
It was painted like a light beige yellow.
You didn't like the color when you moved in, so we repainted it.
So what about you, Susan? How about you? What color are your walls, and when's the last time you changed them?
My walls are, Mark will understand this, a 50% mix of accessible beige. So they're very light, and my trim is it's not quite bright white. It's an off-white.
Accessible beige is a really popular
I
color
know
still.
I'm trying to think when we painted I'm trying to think of the my question I just asked you for myself, and I think I want to say we painted our master bedroom it was in the blue-gray family, right? Because the grays were really starting to grow on me, and the blue-gray has such a calming effect, right? And so we literally, my house was built in the 90s, and so we had like some 90s furniture, which we no longer have, and so I had hunter green with like the black faux paint and the beige, so we finally like got rid of that. We had that for way too long. That was probably at least 10 years, maybe 12 years. So we finally painted that. So I think it's been at least 4 years maybe not that long, that we painted our master bedroom, and we liked it so much we painted the whole house. And the house was that brown color.
Yeah.
So we changed that, and it was a nice, refreshing color.
I think, let's see, 10, 12 years ago, everybody started switching away. And that's when people had deep golds and red accent walls and brown and I think
it's so funny that you say that,
It's
because
a brown and red accent wall right there.
we were just talking about that, like how we want to probably redo the lobby and change that. It does match the furniture in the conference room, but I'm kind of sick of it.
If you're following trends, those colors unbelievably are coming back.
Oh, that's nice. We're getting a picture right now.
We're going back to Mark Moon's fireplace.
Fireplace. Beautiful. Yeah, very. See, now that's
classic,
and it has a little modern edge to it.
Yeah.
It's not super. It's transitional, you would say, right? So
Yes.
that's gonna the simplicity of
Makes the
that
space look nice.
is that's gonna hold its own in time.
So, Susan, are you telling me that the burgundy colors with the gold's coming back?
Unfortunately, I'm not going to say it's coming back. I'm going to say that in my research for colors of the year from different makers, that dark color right there from Behr is Canyon Dusk. It's almost exactly like that.
Is it?
And
So it's that burgundy-ish color? Canyon Dusk, I would think, with more orange, but I guess it's red-orange, right?
No,
It's
it's
Grand
very.
Canyon.
It's more burgundy.
This particular color from Behr is a brown color just like that, and Sherwin-Williams has Passionate. That's their color, and it's a deep red. That one's a little more purple, but it's a deep
Wow.
red. So that's their colors. Now, I'm going to say, as an interior designer, I believe in not following trends.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a prime example. Sorry to talk about another paint manufacturer here, Mark, but I can literally identify this paint when I walk into a property because of the shimmer in it. But I saw it in a magazine, and I'm like, oh, I love this. So I painted my bathroom this bronze color, this Ralph Lauren bronze. You know how they have that sheen, that shimmer? And I loved it, and now I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
So I need to get some paint and repaint it.
If you're going to do something trendy, like a small bath,
Yes.
is a good place to do it because it's
Hidden.
not expensive to check.
It's hidden. Small bathroom hidden.
Well, it doesn't look bad in my bathroom because it's big, but it's not exactly a small bathroom, and I have really high ceilings.
It's
so you
still
gotta paint
a
all that.
bathroom is much smaller than
Yeah.
your whole living space, or so it's an easy fix, or
It's an easy fix.
or
Right, I like
something
that.
to change,
Yeah,
right?
anybody
Well, I
can
would
paint a
never-
bathroom in an hour or two, so.
Would never paint that in my whole house ever. But,
Right.
But it was cool when I first painted it, and now I'm going to need kills just to paint it a different color.
I think it sounds pretty. I mean, I've done like coffered ceilings with but
that's only that little part of the coffered ceilings, which is good. This is like my whole bathroom might have been a little too much.
I don't know. I can imagine it. I think it sounds kind of neat.
Yeah, but when you look at it every day, eventually you get sick of it, I think, right? And I think your wife would too. Yeah. She
Start
would.
using different bathrooms.
Sounds like Leo's wife gets sick of paint. No matter what the color. Every
Oh, she
year,
likes to
too.
change clothes. She doesn't even buy clothes. That's what she rents them all.
Rents clothes, yeah.
That's how irritated
I
she
support
gets.
that one because
Well, you don't have space, right? And
Well, it's not
bungalow.
not buying. It's not space. It's like she's constantly renting $500 dresses, and it's part of a monthly subscription, so it doesn't cost any extra money. She gets compliments on her clothes.
I meant to ask you, like, what does that cost? The subscription for
It's
the
like I
clothes?
think it's like $150 a month for 4 items of clothing.
That's pretty good.
And you pick it from their website. They send it to you. And then when you're done with it, it's like the original red box. You send it back, and they send you the next piece.
How long does she get to keep it? A month?
Like the original red box, you keep it as long as you, or
Oh,
original
long as you want?
So you keep it as long as you want. You just don't get the next item until you return it.
Oh.
So it actually works really well because it allows you not to keep buying new clothes, and you can wear really expensive stuff without having to actually buy it.
And it's new. She's going to get bored with it.
Well, it's not new after it's been rented a couple of times, I guess.
Well, it's still new to the person wearing it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
She gets more compliments on the clothing she wears through it.
I can imagine. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So it's a good program, and it's a safe program because I wouldn't want to buy all that clothing.
No.
So, are you guys really seeing any of these bright greens and mustards? Like, I know you said that they're, the paint companies reported it, but are you seeing any of these colors?
No.
No.
I have not. It's
So, what's the Dyco paint of the year? What colors are you guys seeing?
well, we don't. We talk about paint colors of the year for Ben Moore and PPG because we're dealers of them. I know that the color of the year for Ben Moore is a Asian teal. Did I say that?
Yeah, that was a nice color. I was looking at it. It was like a deep teal.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice color. And then PPG's, I'd have to look it back up, but I think
Okay.
I think it's a kind of a cream color. So
Yeah, those grays are still in, but definitely the teals.
grays are still in; they'll remain in, and even some beiges are coming back. But
All right. Well, this is Tampa Home Talk. If you want to talk paint, call or text 813-377-2775.
Welcome home, Leo Kane here, Beryl Engineering and Inspection. We're talking all the new trendy paint colors and what trendy paint colors to use from the trendy paints and the manufacturers here in Tampa.
That didn't flow very well, Leo.
Too many words of trendy? I'm not one for trends.
Well, it's
so-
interesting how these magazines try to push these crazy trendy colors that people don't actually do.
Yeah.
Well,
That's good to know.
it's marketing.
Yeah, they need new material and something to make people interested, but it's a bad idea in general. Nate Burkus, an interior designer, used to have his own TV show, and one thing he said that I remember forever is he said trends were designed to make people feel bad.
Yeah.
You know?
What?
Yes.
That actually makes sense.
Yes.
Because if you're happy with your home, you're not going to change it.
Right. Right. They're designed to make people feel bad about what they have. Oh my goodness, look at this trend. I saw it in the magazine and I look around and my house is beige. It should be green.
I look at it so differently. Like, I won't put anything too trendy in my house because it's going to cost a lot of money to do it, and I don't want to have to redo it again right away.
The best way to be trendy is with accents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense because then it's a limited amount to paint.
Yep. Yep.
Paint
So-
guys still win because you guys sell a little paint, just not a lot.
You know,
Guy still wins. I like that.
yeah, yeah.
Well, we don't win too much on the interiors. It's the exteriors that we
Yeah.
win more on, and commercial projects.
Yeah, because
but-
exteriors, you need that primer coat, then you need 2 more coats of paint.
So speaking of which, so let's talk about, we were talking about exterior lifespan of paint, which is what?
7 to 10 years.
Is that what Dyco is saying, even with their Florida paint?
7 to 10 years. Yeah, if it's our warranties are between 7 and 10 years, and it's against crack, chip, and peel. But after that 7 to 10 year mark, the Florida weather just beats
it
up
up.
any paint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what about interior paint? Does that how do you know when it's worn or it's at the end of its life?
It really
Is there?
doesn't.
Depends if you smoke in the house
Yeah.
and
Well,
things of that
that's just
nature.
gross.
If
Yeah,
you run
if
your
you-
AC on a regular basis.
If you cook a lot of fried foods, or then you're going to get some
Residue.
yeah.
Well, it surprised me,
Residue,
people,
I like that.
how many people don't know this, but like the exterior paint, let's talk about some of the signs, how you know you need to paint your exterior.
Oh, the 2 easiest signs. Or actually, Mark, you want to handle this one?
Yeah, well, chalking is one.
That was what I was
and-
going to start with.
and
Rub your
Peeling
hand
is the
against
other.
it. Yeah, if you take your hand, rub it against the wall, and take your hand away, and you can see the paint on your hand.
The chalk.
Yeah.
It's time to paint.
So, and it's so many times I see this, like the paint is terrible, and it's like, how do they not know it needs to be painted? Like, I don't think my exterior paint is quite chalky, but I know it's ready to be painted.
Well, there's sometimes, like, I don't walk on the right side of my house. Like, I walk around the left side of my house constantly, but I don't walk around the right side of my house. So the wall could be falling off, and I wouldn't know it.
I find that hard to believe in your house. I'm just saying.
Well, I have a fence that blocks the right side of the house, that you can't walk through that part of the fence, and I have no reason to walk back there. I have no gardens, I have no plants, so why would I?
So we know that people keep their paint a long time, right? Based on what we're talking about. So what kind of paint do you recommend for like good upkeep, easy cleaning, kids in the house, that kind of stuff? Is it more about the brand or the sheen or both?
It's mostly about the sheen and the quality. If you have kids or pets, you definitely want to be eggshell or above for your sheen, especially on your baseboards, either a semi-gloss or a gloss. So that's where they get all the beading, and the doors, semi-gloss or a gloss.
Definitely.
Walls, I like eggshell. Flat, new home construction, you were talking about in your earlier, they almost always use just straight, dead, flat, inexpensive paint to hide imperfections.
I think the flat's easy to match. It hides the imperfections.
As an interior designer, I will tell you that I love flat.
Well, because you can paint over it
walls.
easy, right?
That's not the reason. It's because it doesn't reflect light.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a window here, and if it's reflecting light, like you can see the texture on the wall, the green wall over here, you can see the texture on it. If that wall was perfectly flat, you really wouldn't see the texture and stuff on it. It looks like velvet when and again, it has to be a good quality paint.
Right, it has to be a quality acrylic that is washable.
Mm-hmm. But it's flat is, to me, beautiful. Now, I have to talk a lot of people into that because they've heard that it just doesn't hold up. But the paints today, and like you said, everybody thinks paint's latex, right? We always heard latex. It's not. It's acrylic these days, and it really holds up well. You can scrub flat paint.
Yeah.
So
with the higher quality flats, for sure. The lower quality new construction,
Yeah, they're using
you can
builder
wet your
grade.
finger and wipe that off the wall.
Yes.
So, Mark, we were talking about how you should do like a gloss or high gloss or whatever on the baseboards and then some type of sheen on the wall just for easy cleanup. What about like kitchens and bathrooms and that kind of stuff? Do you recommend a different paint there? And I know we were talking about like grease splatter. Who mentioned that? Was that you, Leo? So you mentioned the grease splatter in the kitchen. So you recommending a different kind of paint in those areas?
Typically in wet areas, we recommend a satin or a semi. Some, like we were talking about the higher quality paint, some manufacturers make matte finishes or flat finishes that bend more for one. It's called Scuff-X. That starts with a flat and goes all the way up to a semi-gloss. But once you paint with that, it literally can't be scuffed. So you can use that anywhere. But again, it's depending on the person of whether they want to spend the money on that kind of paint or if they want to, get the lower cost and the higher sheen.
What are the cons of not painting your bathroom with a semi-gloss or something like that?
Well, your bathroom stays wet. So your towels.
So if it's flat,
hanging,
it stays wet?
Well, it wipes it off the walls, basically. If you have wet towels on a towel bar that are up against a wall with flat paint, then that flat paint is going to start to just wear away, especially if it's a cheaper paint.
You almost need to go with an exterior paint in your bathrooms.
Really?
Some people do.
Yeah.
I've seen bathrooms that aren't properly vented.
Oh, yeah.
So then there's the condensation from showering and all of that, and it sticks to the walls like it sticks to mirrors, but you see it on a mirror, you don't see it on your wall. So it sticks to the wall, and then I've seen bathrooms with bad paint, not good quality stuff. You can see the drips. It
Right.
starts to you can see drips.
It looks
in the
almost
paint
like a surfactant leaching on an exterior.
So is that attracting mold, Leo, in the bathroom if it's flat paint?
Well,
is it more attractive to mold?
I'm just going to say mold loves three things. It loves dark, it loves wet, and it loves hot. So after you take your shower and you didn't open your window or you run your bath fan and you leave the bathroom and you close the door, you've just created a dark, wet, hot atmosphere. So take your guess on if mold's growing there.
And if a lot of people hang their towels on the back of the door, and they'll open the door and leave it open, and that towel's up against
a wall,
and you start to see that mold or mildew grow right there.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? Well, I mean, other than the paint, so if you change the paint, that fixes it, or should you be putting something under the towels?
Well, you should
So
still
they're
be
not
running your
against the wall.
bathroom fan or opening your window. I mean, that's the first and foremost. Do those things when you're showering and after you shower.
So leave your door open.
Leave your door.
I don't know how people don't think about bathroom venting. I notice it right away in any house. But yeah, it's
Florida building code, so I mean you're supposed to have a way to get that air
some of the
outside.
older ones though. We see that.
You either need it by a window or an actual mechanical vent. So even your older homes need one of the two.
So pre-1978
Still
house with peeling paint in the bathroom because it's not vented.
could be properly lead. You could be breathing in lead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could totally see that because we've seen a lot of that peeling paint, especially like some of them have a window in the shower and just.
That's where we find the lead paint in the lead paint test is mostly the windowsills.
Is it? Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. So I'm curious about the price range for paint and like, especially repainting the exterior of the home. What is that running in terms of like what's the average gallon of paint costing these days? And I guess exterior probably at least 5 gallon, right?
It really, again, depends on quality. I mean, we have paints that are 25 a gallon all the way up to 65 a gallon.
Now, what's the difference in the paint for that price?
The acrylics, and the additives that they use in the paint.
So what's the benefit of buying a $65 paint over a $25 paint?
For me, $65 paint isn't a benefit, but all of your exteriors, as long as it's a decent quality exterior, it's got the mildicides in it. It's got doesn't necessarily have algicides, but it's got mildicides and it's 100% acrylic, so they're pretty quality. I'd say your average is about $30 a gallon.
And doesn't all of your paint have some of that stuff in it?
All exterior paints have mildicides in it. We have a product that's called Clean Guard that's got a antimicrobial in it, so it protects against algae, mildew, and mold for 7 years, guaranteed for 7 years. So it won't grow on the paint.
Which is around the time you're supposed to be repainting.
Exactly.
I love it. So I know, as always, you give our listeners something special. So do you want to, what promotions do you have for our guys this week for Tampa Home Talk?
Well, I've got a specific account set up for Tampa Home Talk. So, and I told Mimi that I would send her the PDF form of the discount card that I gave you.
Okay.
So you guys can just send it out, and if they use that account, then they get contractor pricing.
That's great. That's fantastic. And that's I think it's like 25% off, or it's a pretty good discount.
It's about 30 actually.
Oh, look at that.
That's significant.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah.
And there we did a whole show on Dyco, right? With you and what was your guy's name that came in here?
Michael Galley, he's our general manager.
Yeah, so we were talking all about Dyco paint, how they're literally manufactured here, so they build the paint to live in Florida, really.
It's manufactured right in Ybor City.
Right in your neck of the woods there, Leo.
Been around since 1967.
So, we appreciate that. So if you want to take advantage of this, you can call or text us, and we will send you that discount card so you can get better than contractor pricing. So it's 813-377-2775, 813-377-2775. You can just text PAINT to 813-377-2775. And so what about your locations again? You want to tell people where you are, because they have to go get them? Or are you shipping the paint, or what?
I mean, we deliver. To most of our commercial jobs, we deliver. We have stores in Carrollwood, South Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete, Largo, and Ocala.
Oh, wow. Is Ocala new for you guys?
No. Mm-mm.
I thought it was new. I didn't remember hearing that. Awesome. We'll have to put that on the discount card with the locations. That would be ideal. And then when we come back after the break, we're going to chat a little bit more with Susan and talk about some of the areas that she services and what you can expect to pay for her services if you want to redesign a space in your home. And the other thing we're going to talk about, and I'll mention it really quick before we roll to break.
All in one segment? That's a lot you want to cover.
I know, we'll get to it. It's already February 26th, so if you're listening to this
Homestead.
and you moved here,
Homestead.
your deadline is
Homestead.
this weekend to file for Homestead Exemption.
If you're in doubt, just file.
If you need help, call or text us at 813-377-2775. We will show you how. We will send you the link.
We probably should tell people what Homestead is.
Yeah, we'll talk about what Homestead Exemption is, because I think that's a very important part. It's one of the benefits to living right here in Florida.
Free way to save money.
Stick around.
welcome home. Tampa Home Talk.
Welcome home.
Last segment of the hour.
Yeah, so let's talk about Homestead really quick because we don't want to run out of time.
Yes, Homestead.
Because the deadline's right here. I thought Mike Fasano was coming in, but there was a miscommunication somewhere.
We normally have him, but...
So, Mike, if you're listening, we miss you. You should be in here talking about this.
The simple thing of Homestead to remember is if you bought a home, you can save money, and it's free. You save money, it's free. That's all you really need to know about Homestead.
And you don't need to refile. So if you already have it, you don't have to refile. But if you've moved here and you don't have Homestead Exemption on your property right now, you can look it up on the tax collector site.
Yeah, so basically on your tax bill, they just take off $50,000 and then or $25,000 straight off the assessed value for calculating taxes.
So the way they do it is you pay full taxes from $25,000 to $50,000, but when your assessed value is, and it's just almost a joke at this point with the numbers, but $50,000 to $75,000. They apply the homestead exemption, then anything over, you get an additional $25,000. So really, with the cost of homes, it's a $50,000 homestead exemption. So, for example, and the portability too, like if you lived in a home and you moved into a new home, you can take a huge tax savings in some cases with you. Yeah, you take it with you to your new home. So even Mike Fasano got a portability.
Yeah, so
when we sold his home and got him a new one.
You buy a home for $125,000 a decade ago. You buy a home for $400,000 now. You want to take that homestead that you have locked in place, because the other neat thing about homestead is your first year, you get the discounts off your taxes. The second year, they can only increase your assessed value by like 3 or 4%.
3%.
And so it stops them.
And it's judgment proof. There's a reason why O.J. Simpson moved here. And
it stops them from increasing. So if your home goes from $200,000 to $400,000, but you're homesteaded, it goes from $200,000 to $206,000.
Yeah, 3%
you save
cap.
A lot of money here. So it's free. It saves you money. And you just have to fill out a form. Can you fill it out? I think you can fill it out online.
You can definitely do it online. We can send you the link. There's a couple of rules around it. So this does have to be your primary residence. You have to be living there. You must have lived in the property and owned it as of January 1. So that's a big deal.
When in doubt, you file for it. Like, these are all rules and stuff. Just when in doubt, you file for it.
Definitely file for it.
And then they'll determine if you're eligible or not. That's the way I would take it. Just file for the homestead.
You do need to have quite a bit of stuff prepared. So driver's license, tag number, you need all of this sort of stuff.
Tag number? What is this, a car?
On your car, yeah. You put your tag number, ask you that. Yeah, because they want to make sure you're actually living here. You're not a snowbird with a New York driver's license that just says that's your homestead. It has to be your primary residence.
But the key is it's money you don't have to pay in taxes, and it's free to sign up for.
And the biggest thing, really, it's money you don't have to pay, but the cap on how much the taxes can go up is huge.
Well, it's small.
It's huge. It's a big deal.
It's small.
Well,
it's a big deal, but it's a small.
So I'll tell you another story real quick, just around homestead, because it totally relates, and people think, oh, it's just about the $50,000 exemption, or oh, it's just about the cap on the tax, if they even know it. I had a client one time that was selling their house. It was a husband and wife that own it, primary residence, homestead exemption on it, and the husband had a judgment for about $100,000 that attached to him. And the people that were collecting the judgment were very aggressive in the collection of the judgment, to the point to where when we were selling the house, they literally bullied our title company into not closing it. So I started looking at it and I'm like, I don't think this judgment is certified and it's only against the husband. It's really not going to stick to title. And so ran it past one of our attorneys that is very well versed in the real estate and title space. He agreed and concurred. Not only was the judgment not certified, but even if it was only against the husband. And this was a primary residence owned by the husband and the wife, which means that judgment cannot stick.
That's the value of having a skilled realtor.
Yeah. So we were able to flip that closing to our attorney's office, and we closed it right away. And then, of course, the guy was trying to bully us and whatever, but it didn't stick. So that's the point. And a lot of people, you always share the O.J. Simpson story, right? Because people remember that, like how he got in trouble and then was like stealing the memorabilia from the Vegas hotel, and then they saw him basically move here. He had very limited assets left, but he took what he had and he moved to here and he paid cash for a house and put it all in there. Well, he did that for a reason. It is judgment proof. They cannot take your house. They cannot make you sell it. Now, it can impact you if you're trying to refinance or take cash out or any of that stuff, but they cannot make you sell your home. And it doesn't attach. It was only against one and you got a spouse.
Yeah.
So Really, really important to file for homestead exemption. If you have not done it, don't know how to do it, it just takes a couple of minutes. Go do it. You can call or text us if you want help. We'll send you the link and save you from having to look all over for it. 813-377-2775. Just text Homestead. We'll send it to you. 813-377-2775. And don't forget, this is the deadline this weekend. March 1st. It's too late. That's Monday. So make sure you do it before Monday. And keep your receipt.
Does it work on the weekends? You can do it on the
Yeah, you
weekend?
can do it online. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, you can do it online. It's pretty quick and easy. There's a paper you can actually fill out as well. So I don't know if with that falling, we should have asked them with the deadline falling on the weekend if they would roll it to Monday. I can imagine if you show up Monday, they might not take it, but I don't know.
I would
do it online.
Yeah, just do it online.
Do it online or get by the tax collector's office today and they'll help you fill it out.
Yeah.
Help you get it all done. So, Susan, I know I was asking you about prices and you're like, they're all over the board. I can't really answer that. And that would make sense, right? So I guess a better way to phrase it is you'd kind of do like a consultation with people over the phone to figure out what they're looking for, make sure you're a good match. And then if you feel like you are, you'll schedule a consultation at no charge to kind of walk them through what they're looking to do.
Right, absolutely. So we first talk on the phone. It's surprising how many times people call and they'll say, well, I want to eventually do this. And I'm like, well, if you're going to change the layout of your kitchen, then maybe now is not the time to get new flooring in your family room. Because if you're going to change the walls, like I said, that's a big thing, is to expand a kitchen or move the walls. You don't want to put new flooring in your family room because now you're going to have a flow issue with your flooring when you change your kitchen walls. It just doesn't make sense. But a lot of people who aren't in the business don't think about things that way. So,
or they do it and they're like, oh, this doesn't really match anymore. It doesn't look good anymore.
Right. So, we can work through those sorts of things in the telephone interview. And then after that, if it sounds like we're going to be a good match and they really do need some help, then I'll come over and do an initial, I consider it sort of a job interview.
Well, it's a consultation, yeah.
You interview me, I interview you. We see if we're a good match, if we're like thinking, and that's at no charge.
So Susan Jackson Designs, our interior designer of the hour. Mr. Mark Moon from Dyco Paint that just talks so much. We can never shut him up every time he's in the studio, right? He just talks too much.
Well, we need him in the studio. We could have used him.
I do talk too much.
Thanks for joining us. We're glad that you have, and thanks so much for providing that discount to our customers. And we love your paint, so we're going to make sure you guys see what it looks like once we repaint our building. It's going to be soon.
I'm excited to see that too.
Yeah. So call or text us if you need some help. Our off-air number is 813-377-2775. Got a bunch of listings coming up that are not yet on the market, so if you want to know about them, 813-377-2775. Love where you live, or we'll fix it. Enjoy the weather this weekend. It's going to be beautiful.
90
Welcome home.
degrees.
Love where you live?